Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about one of my favorite creators on this website, the biggest and most subscribed individual on YouTube, our based god gamer himself, none other than PewDiePie, of course. Pewds actually just returned to creating content this past week after taking a long-deserved month off from YouTubing. Sounds like it might be a bit much, but you gotta keep in mind, old school creators like PewDiePie, well, he's been posting almost every single day for about 10 years at this point. And sure, he's been rewarded handsomely for it too, and he's been commended and given praise as well, but as most of us full-time workers and everyday kind of employees know, sometimes money and success and praise just isn't enough. Sometimes you just need a few days or even a week or so off from your job to decompress. I would say this is especially true for creative endeavors like writing and video making, which is kind of what we do here. And these creative jobs require a different and special amount of mental focus, which also constantly needs updating, refreshing, and the drawing in of new ideas. Regardless, PewDiePie is back, and it's been an interesting return this month to say the least. Not only have some of his new videos been very fresh, relative, and biting with their criticism, even attacking a number of very left-leaning types and mindsets, but also, as is tradition at this point, well, the media is coming after PewDiePie once again too. Now, this has happened to the guy numerous times over the past few years now, and to sum things up succinctly, the mainstream media likes to attack PewDiePie because, first of all, he's the biggest individual YouTuber, which is also a platform that greatly challenges the media's relevance, and combine that with the fact that PewDiePie is also a free thinker and right-leaning type who doesn't let politics or PC culture or woke stuff dictate what he can and can't talk about in his videos. Yeah, if Pewds was a suck-up YouTuber like, say, Lily Singh, well, he might already have a TV show, talk show, or movie deal by now, or even his own video game. But instead of caving in and kowtowing to liberal pressure, PewDiePie has stood his own ground and done his own thing. And also, he's challenged a lot of the left's bad ideas in the process too. So it really shouldn't surprise us that Pewds has been slandered by the media time and time again. They call him a lot of the same things they call right-leaning channels like myself here. You know the drill, guys. We're all racist, sexist, homophobic, and 1940s Germans and so on and so forth. None of these claims have any basis in reality though, of course, because SJWs in the mainstream media, they just slander YouTubers they don't like with typical insults based on nothing, just like they're some kind of petty high school bully. For example, this Metro article discusses PewDiePie's situation this week, which seems to get into people attacking the guy for weighing in on misogyny in video games in the wrong way. And while this disagreement might be more mild and plenty more worse SJW types are certainly attacking the guy on Twitter and stuff too, mostly for another video which too many people have already talked about. So for today, I want to focus on the next video that triggered some as well. And actually, there's another tie-in to this channel and recent events here. You see, one of the videos PewDiePie recently reviewed came from the YouTube channel called Jubilee. And funny enough, I actually reviewed and discussed that channel for the first time about a week or so ago when we talked about their woke competition video. And this time, PewDiePie found another cringe pro-left-wing video from that channel as well, which I think we should all be looking at. The original video from Jubilee is called "Do All Pro Gamers Think the Same?" The short answer is no, of course. As is the answer no to all of these silly versions of this video Jubilee has been putting out lately. Now, before we start our review, I strongly recommend you check out PewDiePie's response to this too, since he's got some great zingers and one-liners in there and some goofy banner to go along with this too. And he was the first one I saw respond to this Jubilee video. We'll also get to more of his takes and angles specifically later as we discuss ourselves what I think about this video in more detail, talking things through and spelling out why things are wrong here beat by beat like how we always do at No Bullshit. So without further ado, let's check out some of this pro gamer video.
I don't think gaming is anti-women. Like, no guy is saying, oh, you can't play online today because you're a woman.
I don't think it's anti-women, but I think there's just a lot more shit they have to deal with.
Okay, a pretty telling tease and start to the video here. Basically, what you'll find out when we get to this full moment later is the girl in the red shirt on the left, she's pretty damn based. She just stated straight facts here when she said men aren't telling women not to play games, which is true, we're not. But then this wannabe woke guy on the right, he's trying to literally tell a woman that her own journey is harder than it actually is. This guy clearly wants all the SJW points for this contest, and he's pulling the classic liberal move where they tell women and minorities they're more oppressed than they actually are.
Gaming culture is misogynistic.
Not gonna lie, I need a definition of that word.
What? You need a definition?
Yeah, what is misogynistic?
Like anti-women.
Anti what?
Women.
Oh, okay.
Or anti-female.
Gotcha.
3, 2, 1, go.
So yeah, I skipped over some BS to get you guys to this question that prompted that intro clip. The backstory of all these so-called pro gamers is hardly as interesting as their responses to SJW heavy questions like this. Is gaming misogynistic? Give me a break. That's like saying, is shopping at the mall misandrist or anti-male? Just because a job or hobby may have more people interested of one gender, that doesn't mean they're anti the other gender. It can, but not necessarily. And that seems to be the implication here too, since gaming is obviously dominated by men. But that's not because men hate chicks, quite the opposite actually, but it's really because a lot more dudes end up playing video games. Girls can game too, and they do, of course, and I'm glad this show brought in some females to gain their perspective on this video, but these gamer girls are the exception to the rule, and that makes it oh so much more sweeter when this one girl in the red doesn't go along with their baloney.
When they're in a gaming lobby, and well, probably us females probably experience this more. As soon as we speak, we get called fat, we get called all these ugly names, and that is still something I deal with today, as I did 10, 15 years ago. It is definitely a terrible thing to experience.
Well, I hate to break it to you, lady, but pretty much everyone experiences shit talking when they go on the internet. I know you and that other beta boy are buying into the liberal assumption that it's worse for women, absolutely and certainly, but in reality, it's actually about the same. In fact, I would even go so far as to say something else here, something that might get me a bit of flack, but it must be said. Perhaps if these people think it is worse for women, then maybe it is worse, just not in the way they think. I mean, I'm sure we're hearing these girls complaining about this shit more, but I don't see the numbers actually correlating with that at all. Really, I see everyone online getting razzed and shit talked and made fun of all the time, pretty much evenly. And the only reason it's worse for women is because they just can't handle it as well. Not to say women are weaker or not strong or more fragile or any other stereotype that might get me in trouble, but you do have to admit this logic does add up, especially when you consider the fact that women like this pink shirt girl, well, they're complaining and literally saying it's worse for girls. But unbeknownst to her and many other SJWs, it's actually just worse for them because they can't take it as well. And nothing proves that better than them complaining about it more and assuming they're special victims when really they're treated like everyone else, but they just whine more because they can't take it.
I have a girlfriend that streams though, so I feel like I've gotten more open-minded about it and understanding, and I can definitely understand the obstacles like females have to go through. It's pretty tough from people just saying dumb shit or saying you're bad, saying you shouldn't compete. Or
Men sometimes hear those things too, but they don't hear it because they're men.
What the hell does that even mean, dude? Women hear negative comments online because they're women? Then why doesn't that apply to men too? I don't get it. Plenty of comments and attacks levied at dudes reference our genders too. People might say you have a small Peter, or they'll say they're sleeping with your girlfriend or wife or mother or something. Dudes get made fun of for being smaller or weaker or beta too. All kinds of stuff. So with that in mind, I really don't get why girls get this special treatment here. Unless we want to really admit what I theorized about before. Clearly women are complaining about online harassment more, and these people in the video are even saying it hits them harder too. So what they're actually inadvertently saying is women are more sensitive and they're weaker when it comes to handling adversarial behavior online. Now also keep in mind that's not what I would be saying or claiming on my own. I'm not here to say women are weaker at all, but if you do consider this video and the information they're providing us and what we're getting from these SJW types, well, that is the natural conclusion. Basically, they're admitting they can't take online banter as well, but they're trying to church up that weakness by pretending everyone else is bad or worse to them, when really they're not. They're getting the same treatment, but they can't handle it as well as dudes. At least that's the way I'm reading this situation.
No guy is saying, yeah, you cannot get on your computer because you're a woman. Like, no guy is saying, like, oh, you can't play online today because you're a woman.
I kind of disagree with that, and like I do agree that the skill speaks for itself. While anyone can typically play any game they want and become good, the environment makes it so that it's much harder to succeed as a woman than it is as a man.
No, it doesn't, dude. That's the whole point. You've got a woman right there in your face telling you it's the same for them, and you just can't come to terms with that reality. This Hugs guy is a total SJW beta male, clearly, and I hate to say that too, since he's the pro gamer here from one of my favorite games, Smash Brothers, but despite that, he's obviously totally indoctrinated with left-wing BS. I mean, sure, he's got another another SJW whammon next to him going along with this, but he really should be listening to the girl in red because she's the one speaking the truth. Like she said, there's literally no dudes online saying girls can't play games. Maybe you'll find one or two quotes of that out of billions of people in the world on the internet, but those examples will obviously be jokes, and they'll be ridiculed and taken down because they're not acceptable. In addition, you can find many more examples of anti-male stuff out there easily. Women can outright and straightforward attack dudes all they want just for being dudes, and that's encouraged even. We just went over a big example of that when that Marvel writer attacked South Park last week because she hates white males like the ones who created that show in that video we were talking about her. Not to digress too much here, but the point works again here too. Men can be openly hated online, and that's okay, and it gets encouraged or propped up even, like with that Dana Schwartz girl who hated on South Park, and now she's writing for that new Disney Marvel show She-Hulk. But if you attack women, you'll be banned and escorted out of the area and deleted from a website and probably shunned from work, and your bank will delete your account and everything. And that's why attacking women online, it virtually never happens. At least not in the ways these people are talking about. But despite it hardly existing, SJWs will complain and make shit up and act as if women are incredibly oppressed anyway when they're not. What a joke. Next, I want to turn back to PewDiePie for one more minute. His take on this part of the Jubilee video was pretty accurate, so let's go over it. As the article we mentioned earlier went over with their title, around here is the part of the video where PewDiePie noted that people are actually much harsher on men. Sounds true if you think about it. With all this PC culture and SJW propaganda and the liberal media taking over, it really makes sense. Boys will be boys and they talk shit and go after each other, sure, but usually when a girl actually shows up in a video game lobby or at an event or in real life, well, the other players and people in the circle will actually tend to ease up. They put their guards up more, and probably, considering all this left-wing complaining and claims of misogyny, well, I wouldn't be surprised if this was true in a lot of places. It's true everywhere else where being harder on men isn't just accepted, it's encouraged, because girls get to be treated like special snowflakes, and I really don't mind this difference either. At face value, it's fine, and in fact, in my life, I enjoy treating the women in my family with extra care too, as I do with most friends and female strangers even sometimes. And that's all well and dandy, and it's fine, and I don't mind it. I understand and recognize the differences between the genders and the realities of living in an actual world. But what really ruins this is, and what burns all of our asses is, when girls get that special treatment and then they still complain, and then they double down on that, and even they pretend they're actually treated worse than men when it's actually the opposite, and they have no idea how good they have it. These kinds of ladies have obviously lost touch, and they're used to being treated so well and better that they don't realize they're getting special treatment anymore. They've softened and gone on to think they're actually treated worse when it's really the opposite. Elsewhere in PewDiePie's video, he also pokes fun at Ninja, the professional Fortnite player who always has bright colored hair all the time, looking like a silly idiot, and apparently his appearance matches how he was acting last week when Ninja the streamer had a bizarre rant over the phrase "it's just a game," which apparently pisses him off a lot, and PewDiePie also properly roasted the guy for it, as we will here. Ninja really lost his shit in that bit, trying to compare himself to real athletes like LeBron James. Yeah, right. And even Ninja said if you say it's just a game, that makes you a terrible person or some shit. And I have to say, I highly disagree. And I'm glad to see this topic come up here again too, so we could hear both PewDiePie and us on this show discuss it as well. In the end, while the SJW girl in pink in this Jubilee video, well, while she might complain about being called ugly or fat while gaming, well, men often have it, and here far worse, being called virgins or dorks almost immediately as well. So cry me a river on that note. And as for this whole "it's more difficult for women to make it online" bit, well, that one's totally bunk upon further scrutiny as well. Anyone who's made videos or streamed or tried their hand at social media online like I have, well, we all know girls actually have it far easier here. All you have to do is be a girl and not be totally ugly, and you'll easily grow your following far faster than any dude, just for being a chick. This is even more true for streaming platforms too, which was mentioned here by one of the gamers in the Jubilee video, and that streaming reference is rather funny too, come to think of it, since we all know girl streamers like the ones on Twitch, well, they very clearly only get popular because they're girls, and because they have decent looks or a body they show off or something, and nothing screams entitlement and ungratefulness more than complaining after all that. I mean, this one girl says she allegedly got called fat online, presumably by a 12-year-old typical Xbox kid, and that's what led her to believe the entire gaming community is misogynistic? Come on, just because you're a girl doesn't mean everyone who doesn't kiss your ass is misogynistic. The truth is, you're getting the same treatment online online as everyone else. Or worse, you're getting even better treatment even. But obviously you're so spoiled and pampered and weak-willed that you think better treatment is actually worse, when it's really not. What do you guys think? Did you see PewDiePie's new gamer video? Are you surprised the media is coming after our guy once again? And do you think women have it harder online like what's claimed here? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button to help support this channel, and we'll see you all next time.